What up, everybody? It's your boy DFSUpNorth, aka Josh Thomas, here with another 10 under 10 GPP podcast brought to you by the fine folks over at DFS Army, Geek, Uppers Lad, Tex, all the boys, Bobby Wow, right? And if you are not a DFS Army VIP, what are you doing? We smash every single week, every sport. More importantly, we teach you how to win by contest selection, lineup construction, all of those things. Like today, Geek does the whole VIP Saturday stream showing how he's setting up the nomination station, things like that. And you are only able to access that if you are a DFS Army VIP. And you, my friends, are missing out big time because you got one of the best in the game. Not even like just one, like some people are very, very good at DFS, right? Kevin being one of them. And some people are very, very good at DFS and very, very good at teaching others. And Kevin hits both those nails on the head. And not only that, some people are very good at DFS. Some people are very good at teaching DFS. And some people are actually funny and entertaining. And Kevin is one of those guys. He can talk for 2 hours and I will watch the whole thing every single week. This podcast every single week, though, we talk about my 10 favorite plays, all under 10% owned on the week 14 main slate. We get 5 from DraftKings, 5 from FanDuel, and my strategy, as always, is first or last. I ain't here to min cash. And last week, baby, we were not min cashing. Look at this week 13 recap. We got Anthony Richardson, who was the QB6 at 4.2x value. We had Bryce Young listed here, the QB5, who was the GPP Millie Maker winner on both sites, I believe. Saquon Barkley, hit value, RB5. Garrett Wilson, bit of a dud. Kate Otten, dud. FanDuel, Sam Darnold, Will Levis, Joe Mixon, Adam Thielen, and who was our last guy there? The Bills D was fine. So a decent week. Bryce Young being the GPP winner, always like when we hit that. But, you know, we are just, I say it all the time, you need 3 to 4 weeks during the NFL season that you smash, right? The rest of the weeks, you're just keeping your head above water, all right? And you're keeping your head above water with cash games, things like that, right? Players are high owned for a reason. You should play them, right? That is the reality. But, you know, every once in a while you find a pivot that looks like it's a good spot. Last week, that was like a Bryce Young or an Anthony Richardson. And if you played those guys or made stacks around them, like with Adam Thielen, you were feeling pretty good about your lineups at the end of the day, and you were probably able to take a crack at it. Lots of things have to go right to get to a GPP win. But yeah, if we can find a few little gems in the rough, we can get after it. First guy on my list today is on DraftKings, and here's the deal. I love when we get a guy who consistently produces at a high rate in a great matchup at home that's expensive, right? Because he is almost always going to be under-owned. And especially this week coming off of Bryce Young smashing at a low price tag, we got Jalen Hurts, right? Ownership projections under 4%. I think he probably ends up at 5 or 6, but at 7,800, he's a little pricey, but he is consistently able to put up 25 plus points. I think he's got a 30 spot here. They're going to throw the ball. AJ Brown's the guy. I think that I've been on the Saquon train lately. I'm going to look to fade Saquon this week and get on the Eagles passing game against the lowly Panthers. I think there's some decent run back spots with that, right? I think that Bryce Young is a good play on the other side. Again, he's cheap, $5,000, right? On DraftKings, but yeah, Hurts' ceiling is just so high. I mean, 12 rushing TDs on the year, 26 total TDs. That's 14 passing TDs. AJ Brown and him, you just lock it up. Dallas Goedert's going to be out. You could potentially use a cheap Calcaterra, but I think there's enough cheap sort of RBs that are going to be popular here that you don't necessarily need to. Speaking of a not cheap RB that I love this week, though, and that is Kyren Williams. I actually love this game just overall. The Bills and the Rams. I think this game pops off. 7,300, 5.14. He finally got into the end zone in consecutive weeks. I think he's got double-digit upside here. The Bills have been okay against the run. Milano being back does help them. But home game, I expect it to be a shootout. I think that the volume is going to be high. You get that correlated leverage off of guys like Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, right? We love some Kyren Williams. Another running back I love in a good spot here is Tyrone Tracy. Drew Lock-led Giants take on the New Orleans Saints at home, and I think that Tracy gets a ton of work here. They've weirdly given Devin Singletary starters reps, but Tracy's the guy, right? He is the guy, and at some point, I'm hopeful that they quit giving Singletary reps to just get Tracy some more work, and I think we could see that this week. So I think that you're getting a running back at, I think, 9% owned here. Let's see. Let's go over it. I talk about our DFS domination station. I said that really weird all the time. It's a little sneak peek And if you're looking at it, right, we got all the games listed at the top, all the slates, right, how you're going to build. This is just our optimizer, right? All sorts of stuff in here. If you ever want to know about it, we have videos, but let's look at projected ownership, because I think that with some of the value here, we're going to see Tyrone Tracy's go down. So a little bit. You can see 8.41%. You could also, we can sort by fantasy points per dollar, looking like, your cheapie Zach Charbonnet is going to be, and this number is going to blow up. The 7.67 number is going to absolutely blow up. Isaac Arendo already got the blow up at 5,400, right? You can sort by like what the props say is going to happen, right? Props say that, Devon or Alvin Kamara is obviously your best play. So when all these things sort of line up at 8,000, what do you think you need to do in cash? And my guess is you probably need to play Alvin Kamara this week with Isaac Arendo. And who's my other cheapie? I just said his name, Zach Charbonnet, right? So that's a sneak peek. Again, DFS Army VIPs, got to get it. All right. You got to be a DFS Army VIP to get that. And if you want to become a DFS Army VIP, you can use that code UpNorth to get you 10% off for life. Khalil Shakir. I love this Bills Rams game. I talked about it. I think it blows up. Shakir's on a great run, even played well in the snow last week. Seven targets, like Allen's favorite target, without a doubt. The ceiling last week wasn't very high because of the snow, but I think here he catches a touchdown. Great game environment. I think that he smashes at 6,900 on DraftKings. And finally, a super punt tight end, Chigakonkwo. I love a cheap tight end on this slate, especially now that we're getting cheap running back value. So people are going to chase that in GPP. I would rather go cheap tight end and hope that we get an end zone fall into by Chigakonkwo. He is one of Levis's favorite targets, had a season high 6 targets last week. And if you can catch one in the end zone against the lowly Jags, like I love him to smash value. Another reason to become a VIP is I was just in the Discord, and Mr. Bobby Wow himself, a former Million Maker winner, multiple time, right? If we count showdowns, but he was just chopping it up, talking about some plays, especially from FanDuel perspective in the Chiefs and Chargers game. I love a Sunday night football on the slate. So he's got some guys. I got a guy coming up here too. But again, you got to become a DFS Army VIP. And I am just going to play Jameis Winston every single week from here on out. He's going to throw it a ton. I love the guy. He's a fantasy monster. 450 in a losing effort against the Broncos on the road. I get that it's the Pittsburgh Steelers, but naked Winston here all day. I don't even care. Like, you could throw in Njoku, but I'm not in love with it. Hey, just go naked Jameis and see what happens in large GPP this week. I think he balls out Pittsburgh on the road, right? They're not the 85 Bears, but even if it was, I was still playing Jameis Winston. Speaking of the Bears, a Bobby Wow special here. I do love Caleb Williams against the beat up 49ers on the road. Williams has been pretty good, 25 points back to back, right? He's running it a ton. He hasn't turned the ball over in weeks, right? He looks legitimate outside of the panic at the end of the game against the Lions, right? Matt Eberflus gone. I think that is much better for Caleb Williams in this offense. He's sneaky GPP upside here. Love him. Next guy, let's see. Okay, Bijan Robinson. All right, he was over 10% on DraftKings. Let's just see what he's clocking in at FanDuel. I don't think it's going to be over 10%. It wasn't a few days ago, but let's just see, because we've gotten some of this value out there, right? That has opened up, and I think it's going to cause some of these higher priced running backs to go under owned. Bijan, running backs. Did I miss him? Are we just like not playing Bijan Robinson? It's 7.5. No, guys. Bijan Robinson is in a smash spot here against the Vikings. They can't throw the ball. I am very, very high on Bijan Robinson in this spot, especially compared to Saquon and Alvin Kamara. This is almost a smash play for me this week. Love me some Bijan Robinson. And I get it. I am a Vikings guy. Cousins apparently sucks again. He's going to go check down Sally to Bijan all over the place. Love him. 15 plus carries, 6, 7, 8, 9 targets. Like, this is a smash spot for Bijan Robinson, and he is going to be a guy that I think is going to be in the GPP winning lineup this week. Finally, a guy who should have had a monster week last week. We wrote him up here. He had 19 points, could have been like 27. He was 1 yard short of the 100-yard game, had a TD callback that was clearly a touchdown, and that is Minnesota's own Adam Thielen from Up By Me. I think that we expected him and Bryce Young to really be on the same page at the beginning of the season. Took him a while, right? Young had struggled at the start here. We saw Dalton come in, but now with Young back, he has been loving Adam Thielen. I think that this is a great spot for him, 5,900 against the Eagles. They're going to have to throw the ball to keep up, and Thielen is going to be likely the guy that sees a ton of that. So obviously you got Xavier Legette there and some other guys, but I really like Adam Thielen this week. I think the price is just far too cheap. And finally, I said I love that Sunday night hammer game. This is a guy that we've listed here before, but I am a big Will Disley guy. First read for Herbert all the time. Okay. McConkey's dealing with an injury. It's likely that he plays, but I do think that we see Disley get an increase in target share here. They're going to throw the ball. Kansas City does play fairly slow, but I do see this game potentially playing to the over here. And I love Disley's upside, his athleticism. I just love everything about this guy. I think he's a fantastic tight end. So I love him here. That is what I've got for you in the DFS Army 10 under 10 GPP podcast. I hope this was helpful. If it was, please hit that like button and subscribe. Leave me a comment if you got a guy that you think is going to go under own this week that has GPP winning upside. And if you nail it, I'll put you up on the show next week. Peace, everybody. Use that code UpNorth, gets 10% off VIP monthly membership. I hope this was helpful. Cheers, everybody.